So I know a few days have only passed since we did the last trade video, and we did a trade talk yesterday with Pommy yesterday. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. That was absolutely incredible and completely comprehensive if you want the long form version. But I'm going to give you a short and sharper version of what transpired yesterday for you guys to see and understand what the dynamic is looking like on the trade table right now for Collingwood. As far as who's off the table now, Tom Barrass and Josh Battle have both elected their club that they'd like to arrive at, and that is Hawthorn. Hawthorn, obviously a destination club now with their performances and the culture that they're building. Reminds me of Collingwood 2022. Jack Lukosius, we were hoping with Lukosius that it would be a case where Gold Coast would pay for a large sum of his salary to get to Collingwood, similar to what we did with Treloar and Grundy to get them to the Bulldogs in Melbourne, and then also what Gold Coast did with Geelong for Jack Bowes, and that's, like I said, paying for a large portion of the salary to get them there, but it doesn't seem like that's to be the case, and the coach is on big money, so it's realistically a no, a flat track no, okay? And then we've got Sam Berry, who yesterday for the Adelaide Crows signed on for 2 years, so not looking like he will not be coming to Collingwood as that inside midfielder that we're looking for. Who is on the table? Well, let's start with somebody who maybe hasn't come into the conversation a whole lot just yet, but Tim Membrey needs to be strongly considered for Collingwood. Yes, he's 30 years old, but at what cost? And we'll compare it to Tom Lynch, but I will talk about Tim Membrey at first. 30 years old, he's played 19 games this year. A really good, a true third key tall forward, really, in the grand scheme of things, if we want him in our team, along with McStay and Myercheck. Yes, it means the dynamic with the small forwards will change. You can't have Bobby, Bo, Billy, Lockie, and Joe Richards, but Joe Richards is a chance he's not going to be there. So there's four small forwards there and 3 key talls. I think it can work. We've had Darcy Cameron and Mason Cox rolling through in the ruck, so maybe that just creates more competition in the key tall department, and I think that would be welcomed at the Collingwood Football Club. So with Tim Membrey, he's an unrestricted free agent. He's been delisted. He's served St Kilda for longer than 8 years, and I don't think he'd be in the top 25% of earned, but it doesn't matter because he's previously been delisted, so he's unrestricted. So essentially, he can walk from St Kilda and come to Collingwood without Collingwood having to give up picks. So all we owe to Tim Membrey is a salary. And with players like Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Hoskin Elliott, Jeremy Howe signing 1-year contracts, it means there's room in that salary bag for Collingwood to exercise some of these swift signings in someone like Tim Membrey. And I think the risk is low with something like this, as opposed to Tom Lynch. If people want Tom Lynch at Collingwood, we need to give up picks for Tom Lynch because he's still in contract with Richmond until the end of next year. And as Pommy referred to yesterday, Tom Lynch probably sees his physio more than his wife and kids at this point of his career. So I think we need to steer clear of Tom Lynch for now and cast our eyes over to someone like Tim Membrey. It's a really exciting prospect, and I think he's found some consistency. He had some mental health issues over the last couple of years. I'm not sure where he is with that, but I'm sure we can manage through that. Moving on to the Gold Coast Suns, and we know that there is a chance that Noble gets over there, so we're looking at their list and seeing what we can get in for return. And I'm looking at a certain Alex Davies, 22 years old, 6'3", big-bodied midfielder, and I actually haven't got him on the list here, but I will write him up just so I can have reference as to where his season how's it been going. He's played 7 games, he's averaging 15 disposals a game, so nothing really stands out. 7 contested possessions, so 50% of his ball gathering is contested, so does show an ability to do so, but his opportunities have been limited at a Gold Coast club with the star-studded midfielder Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, Flanders, Miller. It's a tough team to break into, and he's just 22 years old. He's come off a broken leg a couple years ago, so there's a bit of untapped potential there, and I think we can get him over for something quite a desirable deal for Collingwood. So my hypothetical is Collingwood or Gold Coast send pick 26 for John Noble. And I say that because Gold Coast have been very liberal in their trades and their history. They're quite easy to deal with and a bit willing to give up picks more than other teams. And then we give up either a future late second / third for someone like Alex Davies, who's out of favour. 7 games? He played 7 games this year. Just check his profile. 9 games in 2023, 15 games in 2022, and 1 game in 2021. So deprived of opportunity while he's been at Gold Coast, and I think there is a good opportunity for someone like Alex Davies at the Collingwood Football Club while we look for a big-bodied, ready-made midfielder. And it's in the perfect age bracket. Like, this is one of the players that we're talking about in this age bracket. He's 22. And I think our contingency of 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds is quite bleak. Let me have a look. Let's go to the Collingwood Football Club. Collingwood. Let's have a look at our age brackets. Okay, so we've got TJ 19, Ed Allen 20, that's good. Harvey Harrison 21, that is good, but he's out with an ACL. Ned Long, depth. Nick Dacos, GOAT at 21. Finlay McRae, out of favour, hasn't proved himself. Reef McInnes, out of favour, 22. Will Parker, 22, showing signs. Bo McCreary, 23. And then you got Charlie Dean, Bobby Hill, 24. Isaac Quaynor, 24. So that list of 20 to 24-year-olds is quite bleak for Collingwood as far as talent is concerned. I think if we can buffer that, we can stay relevant in the premiership window for a little bit longer if we mix in players like Tim Membrey and then you get your Alex Davies in. Moving on, we've got a 24-year-old from GWS in James Peatling. He's played 17 games this year for GWS, 16 coaches' votes. He had the full 10 coaches' votes allotment a couple weeks ago. I think it was against, let me pop it up. Had a really good game. Let me just see. He had the 10 coaches' votes in that impressive win against Brisbane, collecting 20 disposals, 11 contested possessions. And then a few weeks prior against Melbourne, 28 disposals and 6 coaches' votes. So definitely a player who is starting to find his own at AFL level. The opportunities few and far between at GWS. I'm not too sure. He's played 17 games, but he has. There has been rumours that Peatling has requested interest in being traded to the Collingwood Football Club as of this week. So it's another player in that 20 to 24-year-old bracket where we can bolster our stocks there and keep our team somewhat young in the mix of all the older players we have. And like I said, we just don't have players in that youthful stage of their career that are ready to take the next step. Finlay McRae, Bytel, Ned Long, Reef McInnes, so on and so forth. So you see what I'm saying when we're trying to bring in these other players for lesser deals. What do we get, or how do we get Peatling? We could probably... GWS are a little bit more difficult to deal with in trades. They rate their players very highly, but I think a future second for someone like Peatling could get the job done, unless GWS think he's a lot better than what he actually is. And then we got Denver Granger-Barras from Hawthorn, an out-of-favour key, tall backman. Did his ACL, so he's been out this whole entire year. You have to remember, Josh Battle and Tom Barras are likely to head to Hawthorn as they've elected that club to be their destination club. If they are in that backline with James Sicily, Frost, that's 4 taller sized defenders. Where does Denver Granger-Barras fit into this? So rather than Hawthorn delisting this man, why don't Collingwood give Hawthorn a nudge, say, hey, keep him on, we're going to take him for pick 55. And pick 55 in this year will probably come from Port for Joe Richards. Port also have pick 37. Do I see Port giving up pick 37 for Joe Richards? I don't think so. So that's why I'm electing to run with pick 55. So I think pick 55 from the Joe Richards trade to Denver Granger-Barras. And then we have another young key tall backman to develop with potential. And then we have a ready-made defender to play that second key tall size in Mark Keane. I think we can use our current picks 48 and 50. And the reason why I think we need to give away 2 third-round picks for someone like Mark Keane is I look at our trade with Adelaide for Billy Frampton. We gave away a future third-round pick. And I think at both stages of their careers when they were traded from Adelaide, or when Billy Frampton was traded from Adelaide and now for Mark Keane where he could be traded from Adelaide, I think Mark Keane's a much better player than Billy Frampton. So I think we're going to have to give away 2 third-round picks, one being a current and one being both of the picks being current from this trade. So that is the update when it comes to what we have brewing on the trade table. lots to like, lots of ways and avenues to go about in this trade period. I know Ben Hobbs has come into conversation, but I think he's not tested, battle hardened enough to be in this conversation when you've got players like Alex Davies and Peatling, who have been in the system a bit longer and have shown a bit more. And then you've got Tim Membrey and Mark Keane. And once again, Tom Barrass, Josh Battle, Jack Lukosius, and Sam Berry all no longer available to the Collingwood Football Club. Did I forget anybody? Do you want me to talk about anyone else? Do you understand the trade window, how it works? I'm still getting my head around it, but let me know in the comment section. Go Pies.